So I watched Culpa Mia, so you don't have to. It starts off with the main character Noah, who's a young girl packing her bags. She's going to live with her mom's new husband in a mansion. And just in the first 10 minutes there are 2 pop songs, so you don't get bored. Because if they weren't there, people would probably walk out of the theaters. Fun fact, this movie wasn't released in theaters. Smart move, Amazon. And as soon as they reach the mansion, she meets her stepbro, Nick, who's a young, attractive Spanish guy. And as soon as they meet, they start fighting like 12-year-olds. Because that's what you do when you don't like someone. Extrovert. I can't even talk to people I don't like. Anyways, for celebration of them living together, they have a dinner tonight with both of them leave halfway through. Because that's what you do. And in the car they also start fighting again. And as they're arguing, Nick gets super offended at Noah's "your mom" joke. Fun fact, Nick doesn't have a mom. So he stops the car in the middle of nowhere, almost causing a collision, and leaving her stepsister stranded in the middle of nowhere. But worry not. Just a minute later, another handsome guy in a sports car arrives. Yeah, and gives her a lift and takes her to a party filled with ex-criminals. Because we need another pop song 17 minutes into the movie. And in the party, there's also Nick making out with random girls. Is he not afraid of no STDs? In the same party, Noah is trying to enjoy herself. She makes a few friends. One of them is Jenna. And while scrolling through her phone, she finds out she cannot see the story of her best friend and her boyfriend. Fishy. To which Jenna advised her to get drunk, strip, and make out with a random dude. That's one way to solve a technical problem. And a few minutes later, Noah is getting drugged. And Nick notices it, so he comes and he insists on taking her home because that's way better than leaving her stranded in the middle of nowhere. And she could have been kidnapped. But now he's gonna save her. So he takes her home. The next day, we find out Nick also likes to do street racing. He has all the symptoms of being a brat. So he does street racing with his expensive cars. Tonight there's going to be a race. Earlier in the movie it is hinted that Noah is also into racing. So Noah will definitely go there. And kissing random girls, Nick, in the race, is kissing random girls, because that's what he does in the parties. From a distance he sees Noah and he gets super hard. And Noah is out there talking about the track and how the turn 6 is really difficult and people need to be careful there. How does she know? Either they give her a map of the entire track, or she's super vigilant, just from starting grid she can see all the curvature of all the curves. I don't know, but she knows. As Nick starts racing, he gets distracted because Noah is hugging Mario, the guy who gave her a lift last night. And he almost loses. Sad. Later on, Noah is again scrolling through her phone, because that's what you do in gatherings, and she finds out her boyfriend is cheating on her with her best friend. What a surprise. And at this point she's heartbroken, and she finally takes Jenna's advice. So she gets super drunk, and one gasoline song later, she's out there kissing random dude on top of Nick's car. You don't make out with Nick's sister on top of his car. Only he can do that. So he sent that guy off and he starts making out with his stepsister because he's concerned about her. He doesn't want her to get drugged again, so he's making out with her. He also takes a picture of it so she can send it to her boyfriend as a revenge. And then Noah is supposed to leave. She gets in his car and Nick goes on to, make out with other girls. And Noah's in his car. All this time, Nick has parked his car on the front line of the starting grid of the race. Noah is in the car alone, and out of nowhere comes Ronnie, Nick's rival. And he's like, it's racing time. And Noah is like, alright, let's go. It's in my DNA. Eventually, Noah has supervision, and she has a past of racing. So she wins the race. Because she wins, she technically loses. Because Ronnie was not supposed to race her. Ronnie was supposed to race Nick. Then why would he race in the first place? If you're using logic for this movie, you're the dumb one. Anyways, Nick finds out, he comes running and he's like, hey, it's fine, I know I lost. Even though he did. And he agrees that he has lost and he agrees to give him the car. That is what was on the line. But Noah, he's not gonna take no bullshit, and she's like, you clearly lost, you loser. To which Ronnie replies with the H word that rhymes with no.
Luke, grab that little hoe.
And Ronnie gets super jealous and he's being protective, so he starts a brawl. Because that would save her. And of course she gets bruised because of that. She gets injured. That was a smart move. Brawl has started, so they have to escape. get out of there, into the car, and in the car is the compassion that Nick and Noah are developing for each other. The next morning, Nick is seen with a little girl, and we find out that's his baby sister that they didn't mention until now. He has a baby sister who has diabetes, so it's quite heartbreaking. And she also has a very bad relationship with her mother. So Nick always makes time for her. He wants to be a good brother to her. And he also posts about it on his story, which Noah watched, and she gets super horny. Later that night, Noah is watching a movie and Nick joins her and mentions that, oh, these stunts in this movie are completely impossible. And Noah is like, no, they're possible, and explains how. And Nick is super impressed by it. And because of that, he gets super hard. And they start making out. But he also mentioned that this is wrong. Quote, "You're my stepsister and only 17-year-old. Hey, Noah replies, "Then kiss me until I'm 18. And at this point I was going to start watching the movie. But Noah's mom comes out of nowhere and saves the movie. And she interrupts him and tells Nick that, hey, you're not present today during the gala and you have to talk to your father about this. It's not good behavior. Until she finds out what other thing he's been doing. And the next morning Noah is washing her car in a sexy way and teasing Nick. And Nick is enjoying the scene while smoking a fag. As he's doing this, Noah's mom comes again, interrupting his playful behavior. Tells Noah there's a surprise for you. And Noah's like, well, what is the surprise? The surprise is her boyfriend Dan. The same Dan who was cheating on her. The same Dan who she sent pictures of her and her stepbro kissing. Same stepbro who is in this house right now. Ta-da! What a plot twist. If you want to know what happened next, wait for parts 2. Or you can just watch the movie. It's on Prime Videos. And people work really hard for any production. Especially the guy who stole his daughter's playlist for this film. Like this video and I'll make part 2 and tell you what happens